5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Let's get ready to rumble!
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the HVAC Uncensored podcast. This is Kelley, wanting to drop a little bit of knowledge about the sponsors that we talk about every week. Guys, Yellow Jacket. More than 70 years ago, Jack Ritchie set a goal for Ritchie Engineering to become the standard by which all other HVAC hoses are measured. In the last 7 decades, the Yellow Jacket brand has not only become the standard in hoses, tools, refrigeration gauges, manifolds, HVAC vacuum pumps, and refrigerant recovery machines, it's become legendary. How have they done this? Through an unwavering commitment to excellence. It's the single most important attribute in the longevity of the company. While other companies have sold out or sent work overseas or lessened quality, the relentlessness and commitment of their people has led to 70 years of best-in-class products, first-class customer service, and innovations that make contractors' jobs easier worldwide. So guys, let's join them in the next 70 years as they commit to changing the standard once again. Yellow Jacket, 70 years of expertise built into every tool.
Streamline and automate your business with House Call Pro. When clients sign up with House Call Pro, they've seen revenue growth of up to 30% just in the first year. House Call Pro automates all of your back office work, which can save over 15 hours of work each week. It also does your scheduling, estimates, dispatching, invoicing, and follow-up marketing for you and your business. Stop losing time and money in your business and schedule your free demo today. Just for scheduling the demo, you'll get a free $50 fuel gas card. Just visit www.housecallpro.com/HVAC-uncensored.
And last but not least, guys, is Webbit. Webbit is who does the podcast website. For all you new business owners out there, we know that you guys have enough on your plate already. When you become one of the big dogs and you want to build your own website, that's cool, I get it. But we're not all there yet. So for you little guys, whether it's HVAC or not, no matter what you're doing, plumbing, selling creams, lotions, whatever, Webbit's got you covered, guys. $49 a month to make a first-class website. SEO, search engine optimization included. They are constantly adding things as far as e-trade, commerce, stuff like that. Guys, you cannot beat it for the price. So let your buddies over here at HVAC Uncensored hook you up with Webbit and take another thing off your plate. All right. If you guys are interested, email us at hvacuncensored@gmail.com and I will forward you our representative Tyler's information and he will take care of you the same way he takes care of us.
I pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands.
One nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. God bless the USA, and thank you to all of our global listeners and all our listeners across the country. We appreciate each and every one of you.
If you're trying to take your HVAC game to the next level, then buckle your seatbelt, crank up the volume, and try not to be offended, because you're listening to the HVAC Uncensored podcast with Gil Cavey and Kelley McKay. Now, here's Gil and Kelley.
Oh, welcome back, friends, to episode 44 of the HVAC Uncensored podcast. Yay! Guys, I am yours truly, Gil Cavey, sitting alongside my good buddy and a confidant, Mr. Kelley McKay. What is up, brother?
It's going great, man. I wish I had my gong. It's in my front office. I would have rang the gong for episode 44.
Yeah, man, we're getting up there. You know, it's a lot when we're already past Kelley's age. So
yeah. We've been around. We've been around a while when that happened. So
yeah, and we're not the new guys on the block anymore. We're not those douchebag boy bands, you know.
Yeah.
But guys, we have an awesome show for you tonight. I really think you guys are gonna like this. So we're not gonna do no interlude. Business is good. It's summertime. If you're not doing good, you're doing something wrong. I'll put it that way. But I say let's go ahead and get right into this, Cal.
Yeah. So I'm Facebook friends with this dude, and I see on Facebook just how hard he's working to change people's lives. He's an intuitive career coach. He's a certified life coach, and he trains other life coaches so they can go out and make an impact on the world. You know, we as tradesmen, like, I feel like we understand service. Like we have a heart of service. And this man, I'm telling you, he bleeds the same blood as us, and he's on a mission to help others reach their full potential. He helps them live purposeful in their careers, increase their money, and experience inner fulfillment. So I consider him a friend. I know Gil and I are really proud to have him on the show. So ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Michael Jaimes.
Bro, I love it. I need my gong.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, you guys are amazing. I love your energy, very high energy, and Kelley and Gil, you guys are just really making a difference in the planet. And I want to acknowledge you guys for this show, for this broadcast, because men need to have these conversations that men don't always have, right? And let's get into it, man.
Sounds good, man.
Yeah.
So,
yes. Thank you.
And thank you
very much.
Yes,
for that.
thank you. Because we're trying, and that's all we can do is try, right? I mean, to make a difference, to help people. So like Gil said at the beginning there, if anyone's struggling right now in the middle of summer, like, reach out to us, seriously. But I had a question about a financial thermostat. So I've had like crazy amount of success, and like the bank account builds up real big, and I'm like all proud, and then it's like I get uncomfortable in that situation, and then I'll either lose it and then I got to build it back up, and I know this is a problem within our industry, especially because we have a little bit of we have seasons in our business, you know. It's like, and we do the best we can to spread out those seasons so we don't have so many peaks and valleys. But what would you say to somebody or say to me, you know, for somebody who's in that situation?
Yeah. That's great. That's a really great question. And so what I'm hearing is basically this, is that like a financial thermostat goes up and down, and you do really well, and then there's sometimes when it kind of dips. And I'm also hearing that it's also somewhat based upon seasons, right? The external, the seasons come and the seasons go. And as they go, business tends to go with that. And the one thing is this, and that I've learned in doing this work and working with really, you know, hundreds of people in this field. And that's this is that we all have certain patterns and strategies that we use in life. And a lot of times high achievers like yourselves and other people out there, and myself included, you know, we're on the mission. We're on the mission to create more, have more, be more, and, you know, create the income so we can do the things we want when we want and go where we want. And that's why entrepreneurs are in this business. You guys aren't just the regular people, right? You guys are like, no, you know what? There's got to be more to life than just working in the box, you know, stuck in the box, stuck, you know, working in the system that just kind of keeps us stuck. And so you go into the field of entrepreneurship, and you guys have done that. And sometimes we actually go out of a box, and sometimes we create another box. And so part of the work that I do is I help to answer your question. It depends on a couple of different things, because one thing is, yes, the seasons change, as you mentioned, and the thermostat goes up and down because of the economy and such. But there's also the inner game. There's the inner seasons that we have. There's the inner thermostat that we can control. See, the outer thermostat, we don't always have control over that. You know, as Viktor Frankl, Man's Search for Meaning, you know, a Holocaust survivor, wrote a book called Man's Search for Meaning, and he talked about, you know, what he called Last of the Human Freedoms. And he said between stimulus and response, man has one power, and that is a power to choose. Between stimulus and response, man has a power to choose at any given moment. And what I've noticed and this seems to run like this common thread, is that people, it's around motivation. And people tend to we create motivation in two ways. One way is we create motivation through pain, through not wanting to be hurt, not wanting to be broke, not wanting to lose things that we have. And the other motivation that we can create as well is a motivation that pulls us towards something. The motivation of a vision, of a goal, of a lifestyle, a motivation that pulls us through pleasure. And so a lot of times what tends to happen in the work that I've discovered is that it's got to do with our upbringing and how we were raised. And our parents did the best they could with what they knew and culture and whatnot, and based upon, the punishment kind of inspiration, right, that we're conditioned to have. Whereas if you do something bad, you're spanked. Or in my case, I was whipped. I was whipped with a belt, and it fucking hurt. You know what I mean? And I didn't like it. I didn't like it very much. But then they told me they loved. Well, actually, my parents. I'm Mexican American. My parents never even told me they loved me, but it was under the assumption that they loved me. And so what I learned is pain equals love.
Right.
And I grew up kind of using this kind of way of being where I would create situations in which I would use pain to motivate myself. And so that might be something that you're talking about here, you see, because a lot of people that I know create income or a relationship or achieve something, and then they lose the motivation once they've achieved it because it was based upon the pain, right? But what happens when you have that thing that you want and the pain is gone? There goes the motivation. So what do we do unconsciously, right? Like an unconscious pattern of thinking is that then we have to create more pain. So we fuck shit up, right? We might lose some money. We might mess up the relationship. We might mess up our health and fitness so that we can create more pain. Granted, we don't do this consciously, right? These are patterns and conditions that we grew up with. And so that might be part of that seasonal change. It might be internal.
Yes.
Right? Because in every down market, there's somebody making money.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And every down, right. So it's not the external, it's not the market, it's the internal. And you said something really cool. I'm not sure if it was Kelley or Gil, but you said that when you achieve a lot, right? And then sometimes like it goes down. Right. You achieve a lot and then it kind of goes down. And so like, how do you pick yourself back up? And so, or no, I think you said when you achieve a lot, then you start to like question it, like, oh shit, fuck, this is actually happening, right? My business is now fucking doing amazing. And now that fucking fear kind of sets in, like, what's next, right? You start to get that overwhelmed feeling, right? Stress starts to kick in. And that's a good problem to have. And I call that champagne problems.
Right.
Right? Because business is fucking booming and you're doing great, right? But then there's like, oh shit, what do I do now? And a lot of that has to do with the self-worth. And I work a lot with self-worth when I work with the entrepreneurs and game changers that I work with. Because when you can really have the internal match the external, then you can continue to excel to the next level and feel worthy of calling in that next level. Is what I'm saying make sense, guys?
Totally. Yeah.
It does for me. Because me and Kelley have talked before where a lot, like you just said, the external problems, like we've all been in this trade for forever. We know that we have seasons. We know that some winters are better than others, but some summers are better than others. But sometimes it's what we're doing, the problems that we're creating for ourselves, and we don't even realize we're doing it.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of like you want something so bad, right? And you hang on so tight to it, and then you got it. And then you're afraid, right? We're afraid. We all get this, right? We're afraid that we're going to lose that thing we got. So we start scrambling, right? What are we going to do? What are we going to do? I don't want to lose this thing that I got. And so does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely makes sense. Because this is what the pattern that I've seen. Like, it's like you said, it's like almost being addicted to that pain of like the lack, and not having it. Well, then it shows up and it's like, some chaos can happen internally, and that, feeling uncomfortable, and then the searching,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You see, the thing is this, is that we look at success for the most part, right, in general, as external success, right? Like how many, like what's in your bank account, the cars and the home and all the external things, the business and how the business is doing. And that's fucking awesome. Great. Congratulations, right? But life isn't life unless you feel the inner fulfillment, unless you really feel like on purpose,
Yes.
right? And then to do that, we have to master the inner game. And that's what I've been focusing on for the last 17 years, is how to master the inner game. Because 17 years ago, I hit a rock bottom and I was making tons of money and I didn't feel fulfilled. Now, granted, I looked really good on the outside and I created certain personas that everybody thought of, wow, this guy has got it all together, right? I had fame, I had popularity, I had women, I had this, I had that. I would go out, I would go do the things I want when I wanted, right? But inside, I wasn't really feeling fulfilled because my fulfillment was based upon what I had externally, right? And so I had to learn to master the inner game. And when I mastered the inner game, right, now I have the inner fulfillment, meaning I have like joy and happiness and all that good stuff, right? But then I'm also able to create external success. And so this is a common thing that happens, right? It's based upon this concept around that I teach some of my in the courses that I teach, right? It's called be do have. Be do have, right? Versus do have be, or have do be. And I'll explain to you the difference between those three different concepts. So most people live in the category of do have be. And what that means is they do a whole lot of fucking action. Their calendars are filled. They're just motivated. They're getting the certifications and they're getting their business going and doing all the things that all these actions are happening, right? And they don't ever have time for anything. Their schedules are so filled that they barely have time to take a shit, right? And they're just fucking busy, right? And then all this, and then from there, they do that. Why? Because they want to have the things. They want to have the retirement. They want to have the abundance. They want to have the money. They want to go on the trips. They want to have the cars and the houses, and they want the business to do great. And they're doing all this, right, to have that so they can finally be. You see, it's all around energy. Doing is energy. Having is a completion of the energy, right? And being is energy as well. But the being energy is state driven. I mean, right now, if I was to guide you through a process and ask you, Kelley or Gil, to think back in a time when you felt really confident and just felt really happy in your life. And if you was to think about that moment and whatever moment that is for you, just kind of create the picture and the visual in your mind. And in that moment, in the present moment of now, reflecting on that, what did you say to yourself about yourself? What were some of the sounds you heard? What was that conversation when you felt really confident and really joyful? And really amplifying that feeling right now. And in this process, you can actually feel this. You can actually feel this experience and feel actually confident now, right? And so that's being states. Those are states of it's like an energy of being, right? Based upon the law of attraction, if you guys are familiar with that, right? Where you're experiencing all of everything in this present moment of now. But if you're coming from the concept, or if we are coming from the concept of do, have, be, and this happened back when the stock market crashed, a lot of CEOs and corporate and business people, right? They lost the have. They lost money. They lost a lot of their finances. So because they were doing and they lost the having, who they were went out the fucking window. And a lot of them jumped out the fucking window. They committed suicide and they actually killed themselves. Because their self-worth was based upon all this action to have this success, and who they were went with the economy change. And so what I'm inviting people to step into is a different way. But before I talk about that different way, let me talk about another one. There's other people, which is not you guys, right? This is another category. The people that are like, once somebody gives me the opportunity, or if you have an employee, once my boss gives me a raise, right? Or if you're a boss, once my employees do more, right? That's have. Once I have that, then I'll do more for them. And then I'll be happy. But this is mostly the people that sit around waiting for the fucking, oh, so sorry about that. Let me put my phone on silent. They're waiting for they're waiting for unicorns and rainbows to come out the fucking sky, and it never happens. Right? And they sit there on the couch and they're just waiting around for that thing to happen, and they're blaming everything and everyone for why they're not where they're at. And they don't take action.
It's
right?
a lot of
And so,
mentality.
oh my God, there's a lot of people like that, right? They're just sitting around, fucking waiting with their thumbs in their ass, right? Complaining about why things aren't the way they want to be. And they're not taking action. But you guys are men of action. And I'm betting a lot of the people on this call are men of action, right? But you're probably going from do, have, be. And this is why when the season fucking changes, right? When the thermostat changes, your feelings go with it. And you either feel happy or you feel depressed based upon the external thermostat. And what I want to invite people to move into, when I coach the individual clients to do, is to come from the place of be. You're already that and a bag of chips now. You have your state, you're happy, you're joyful. And from there, take massive fucking action. And from the action, you're going to get results. You're going to have the things that you want, right? But the things that you want, they don't run the inner game, right? Because the inner game is you're already that. So this is around being, doing, and then having. And if the have changes, guess what? You don't jump out the fucking window because shit changed on the outside. Because that season went down, your state can stay up. Because right? What goes up comes down. Everything is impermanent and is seasonal, as you guys said. And so, yeah, that's a basic concept of that. You guys have any questions on anything I've said so far? I know I kind of just rambled a whole bunch right now.
No, you're good. I know that was Kelly's question, but that was kind of yeah, man. I'm over here taking notes. I'm fucking making sure I'm hitting record again so I can listen to this later. And then I was like, oh my God, he's saying fuck. He's destined for the Uncensored podcast.
Well, you guys said let her rip, and I'm like, shit, let's roll, man.
Yeah, definitely let it rip. I'm gonna crack some beers. I got a couple hookers. I mean, I'm ready, dude. I'm just kidding, honey. I don't have hookers. I'm sorry. But
I know on this call is mostly men, right? So I'm kind of letting her rip too.
Yeah. Surprisingly, we have a few women that have actually reached out to us, and it was
nice.
Yeah, so that's why some of the podcasts you keep saying guys, and I'm like, I'm sorry. Let me make sure I address the females.
Yeah. So ladies, what's up, ladies?
Yeah. We'll be done in like an hour if you want to meet up. All right. But my friend here, Kelley, shot his load a little fast. I guess tell the listeners, I guess, a little bit about yourself, so they just know who you are, to be able, you're answering these questions, and they just know, who Michael is.
Yeah, man. Good. Yeah, great. And I'll share a little bit about that. And and it doesn't really matter, but it does matter, right? So basically, I was raised in Hawaii, born in Hawaii. Parents from my dad was from Mexico, mom from Colombia. And I barked on my adventure of truth and freedom and liberty when I was around 16, which is when I ran away from home. And I said, screw it, right? I ran away from home because I rebelled against the box that I felt that I was being put in. And something was telling me that I wanted to be more free than how I was being conditioned to be at that time. And so I left one box, and what I didn't know is that I actually put myself in another box, because I gravitated towards the other kids that wanted to be free. And the ones that wanted to be free were the kids that were rebelling. And those kids that were rebelling were into drugs. They were into other things, right? And so I gravitated towards that. And we do what we do to survive. And so in that, I did what I needed to do to survive. And I've always been a born entrepreneur ever since I was a kid. I've always just had this mindset that can make something out of nothing. And so that's what I did. And so I started that. And because I was in that world at a very young age, ran away from home, dropped out of high school, right? Really sharp kid with a lot going on. But here I am. Now the streets became my home. And survival of the fittest is where the streets kind of what happens there. And so being that I was involved in drugs and such, I knew this guy wanted that and this guy had that. And, I made a little bit of money. So I didn't see no harm in it. And then I just made some connections. And I began to create this lifestyle in which I was basically making a business out of selling drugs. And I didn't think there was anything wrong with that at the time, because, I figured he wants it, he has it. I'm not forcing anybody to do it. It's all good. Right. And it makes people feel good about themselves.
Been there, done that.
Granted, I didn't have, what's called an ecology check back then, which is now I make sure that I have an ecology check, which is basically means this: good for self, good for my physical body, good for me, good for my well-being, good for the close people around me, and good for the community at large. What I didn't know then, and which now my consciousness knows now, is that I was contributing to a virus on the planet, and specifically in this country. And I was doing what I needed to do, right? And so I created that, and long story short, moved up the ranks. And then when I was around 23, 24 years old, took that, and that's when I really just blew the whole game to a whole other level, and just began just really
Right.
creating a really very profitable business. And by the time I was 29, I was generating around 60 to 80,000 a month, and easily, and it kept my costs really low, because as you know, as business owners and entrepreneurs,
That's
right,
when
that's not how
to
much money
keep.
you make,
Yeah.
it's how much money you're able to save, right? It keep, right? And so there's this concept around
Sure.
Gary Vee. I'm not
Sure.
sure if you guys are familiar with Gary Vee. He's really popular out there. He's real motivational kind of, right? And he talks about his story in the wine business. And when he says, I used to live in an apartment, and when my income increased, I did not increase my lifestyle. And this is key, right? Because what tends to happen with so many people, and I see this happen so often, you make more money and then you spend more. You create more financial, like you buy more cars, you buy more things, right? So you're never really yes, you're making maybe 20,000, but your expenses are 20,000 a month, right? Or then you get to maybe higher, 50,000. And so the key is to, like, if your living expenses are around, 5,000, for example, or 10,000, and then you quantum leap your business to make 20, you keep your lifestyle at 10, and then you save, right? And so that's what I did in this business. I kept my lifestyle finances very, very frugally, and I just stacked chips and
Mm-hmm.
stacked chips and just stacked all kinds of chips, meaning money, right? That's what I call them, like Vegas, right? We get chips. And then what ended up happening is, there was a bigger purpose for my life that I didn't know then. And I knew that I didn't know what it was. I mean, I was really lost. I mean, I appeared to have all these things like I mentioned. And yes, I'm not going to lie to you guys. I had a fucking great time. I was having fun. I was doing this. I was going there. And I felt happy and excited and joyful at that time. And what ended up happening is I ended up creating a situation in which I got indicted by the federal government. And there went
Right.
everything that I had
Right.
put my value on out the door. And I was sitting in federal prison going, how the hell
Mm-hmm.
did I end up here? Right? And went into a deep, deep depression because the things that gave me value, remember the do, have, be, was gone. The have was gone. And so my being was gone. And so who am I? And in that dark, dark moment, something shifted inside of me. And I began to gravitate towards, like, the inner game. I saw this guy, I met this guy, and he was really happy. And I went up to his cell one day and I'm like, hey, brother. And he's like, so happy. He goes, come in. He started talking to me about meditation and mindfulness and mindset and how to, and really like God and spirituality in a way that it just never really hit me before. And I felt different. And so I started to dive deep into myself. And in a very short period of time, began to have these out of body experiences, began to, like, literally, like, leave my body and walk around the place in my spirit, in my energy body. It was really crazy. And I began to feel so connected to God, a connection to God that I never ever experienced before. I felt a love in my heart, guys, that was so powerful, 100 times more powerful than the joy that the money gave me. And I'm like, this is it. This is what I've been searching for. And I dove deep into, like, the human mind and history, and I wanted to know religion, and I had all these questions that I served 10 years. So in a 10-year sentence, I just really dove deep into discovering who I truly am in there. And then, so since then, right, it's been like, I got out in like 2011, December. I've taken some of the most advanced trainings in the world. I've taken certifications under NLP, which means neuro linguistic program, which is really how to master, the pictures and the voices and the feelings, and certain tools and techniques and strategies on how to do that. So I became a trainer of that. I've got 3 different coaching certifications. I've been to India 3 times to study with Guru. I've studied with Michael Beckwith, and I've taken this, over $100,000 of seminar trainings to really learn the real strategies and the tools to how to really help other people. Because I made a shift, but I didn't know how to help other people make the shift. It just happened for me because I studied so much, right? So I started to create programs and coaching programs, and started to discover different ways of how to hack the human mind to get the optimal results. So that's kind of the short bio of just kind of how I got to be here.
No, you can.
Sorry, Kel, I'm jumping. Well, first of all, Kelley knows I mean, Michael, that hits close to home to me because I was also into drugs when I was younger. As far as that's kind of what I mean. Living in Baltimore, that's what you did. I mean, heroin is king here.
Yep.
You sell drugs.
Yeah.
That's how you make your money. And I got hooked on drugs.
Yeah.
I got into drugs bad, where I was lucky that I was still here. Me and my wife both beat addiction to now,
Nice.
to have 4 kids, to be what, in my eyes, somewhat successful from where I was. I never thought I'd be where I am now.
Wow. That's
So
incredible.
yeah. So just to hear that, and this is just my opinion, but when you say your story, to me, that is credible, because I know that there's guys that came out there and maybe they kind of came from money, and now they're just really good at helping other people be successful. And I know they're probably great life coaches, but to me, when I see someone with your kind of story who struggled and did this and then came out of it, I don't know. To me, that hits home. And that's why I opened up on the podcast a while back and told my story to open up, because I know that addiction it's another one of my passions, obviously, besides HVAC, but is helping people with addiction. But it's just to be honest with people. I had people reach out to me, and people, I mean, it helped because people realized that we weren't on here putting on some facade, that we're being ourselves, we're being truthful, and, we're not just trying to put ourselves on some pedestal. We're just like everybody else,
Yeah, that's real talk, brother. That's real talk. And I didn't mention it, but I also, I was an alcoholic, drank every day. And then I eventually also started to use my own supply, which I never did for a long time. And then I did. So
well, I can tell you, just from an outsider
sure.
looking in and being friends with you on Facebook, like I know you're committed. There's no question. You're committed to serve at the highest level.
Yeah.
And that's what attracted me to you. And I think you even maybe reached out to me first, but I'm so glad you did, because I love what you're doing. And, I dabble in that, but I eventually want to hit mastery in that myself, because at certain times through growing my business, I've had little times of little psychological battles that I've been able to overcome. And that makes me want to help other people who might be in that same situation, because it was so painful. So anyhow, I just want to, validate you, because I appreciate what you're doing. And
that's powerful.
I'm a fan. So
yeah. And the bottom line, guys, thank you. And the bottom line to everyone listening to this is really simple. And I just kind of wanted to say this, that we are not. So, okay. So there's a show, there's actually a YouTube video. It's on Netflix as well. It's called Memory Hackers. And Memory Hackers is all these case studies around memory, and basically saying that our memories of the past are completely inaccurate. And as we all know, the past doesn't exist, right? It's like the wake of a ship. Once the ship sails, the wake disappears, right? That's like the past. And many of us live in the wake. We live in the past, and we right? And if we live that way, then the wake drives the ship. So our past is driving the ship. And so we can't not have a past. So we're going to have a past. And it's not a bad thing. But if we can learn to look at the past in a way that it's all wisdom and all learning, our present will be really powerful. And then if we can also shoot out, right, a powerful vision of who we see ourselves being, and then bring that vision to the present moment. So if you can take all of the wisdom from the past and who you see yourself in the future, you bring all of those two components and you live in the present moment, you will create the life that you want. And that's basically what I did. I mean, today it's like my life is so different. Like I travel the country and I certify other life coaches now. And I'm in front of people, that are like psychologists, people that are in corporate, people that don't have the past that I have. But because I've been able to really discover who I am, reframe my story, and really come from a place of empowerment, people gravitate towards that because of who I'm being, not necessarily because of who I say I am. It's more of a frequency thing, if you guys can kind of relate with that, And so I guess that what I really want to share with anybody, wherever they're at, Like you guys are creators. Like we're all creators. We're all magnificent creators, creating our reality every single second of every day. And we're either creating the things that we don't want, or we're creating the things that we do want. And it's got to do with really looking at where is our energy, right? Because this phrase, this is where attention goes, energy flows, and energy is creating. And we're made out of energy. Everything's made out of energy. Everything's electrons and protons vibrate at different levels. And that whole quantum field, right? Quantum physics is showing us that. It's been teaching us that. The observable effect, that we get what we're looking for. Right? I have a client who is very successful in the auto industry, has a own mechanic shop. And I'm working with him because he comes to work and he's been successful, but he's hit a plateau, right? And he's like, I keep fearing, I have this catastrophe thought process, right? And I come to work and I look at what's wrong instead of looking at what's right. And so my business has hit a plateau. And so what I'm helping him do is shift his mindset to look at what is working, still acknowledging the things that need to be improved, right? And it came from his upbringing. Dad was really hard on himself. Dad always pointed out all the things that he wasn't good enough to do. So he grew up with this consciousness, right? With this programming, if you will, that he now uses in his life, and he's using it on his kids. And now he's seeing his kids start to have that, right? And so this is the work that's so important that they don't teach us in school. That there's no, unless you go to like a seminar, Kelley, you've been to
so like
the Warrior
CEO Warrior,
seminars, right?
Is that what you're talking about? Yeah,
Kelley. Yeah.
No. That's Wake Up Warrior.
Garrett, right? Garrett White.
Yeah, and I haven't been to one of his yet, but I'm definitely on his email list.
That's Wake Up Warrior. So okay.
I follow all of his stuff, and
yeah, but those are the kind of things, right?
Right.
But those are the kind of programs, right? Those are the things that they don't have in our education system yet, right? But there's programs to take out there, right? And this is like Tony Robbins specializes in this, right? Like business mastery and mastering the inner game, so you can master the outer game. Because if we're not happy, I mean, this is the thing. If we're not really fulfilled, like inner fulfillment, where you feel fucking good about you, what the hell does all that money mean anyway?
Yeah.
I mean, really, like it's like you're not even, and there's so many people that are miserable and they got money. I know a lot of them.
Well, that's why they say money can't buy happiness. You know what I mean?
Right. But how do you live? Like, how do you get to a place where you really live that and know that? Because that's a phrase and that sounds great.
Yeah, well, I think you need to be happy without the money before you can be happy with it.
It's like a relationship. Shouldn't you be happy before you get into a relationship?
Yeah.
I mean, it makes a lot of sense, right? Like, instead of being like, oh, I need to find my soulmate or my wife or my husband, right? And you're like miserable, and then you bring that misery into the relationship, and you see a lot of this going on, right? This happens. So same concept.
Yeah, it's funny when you talk about that, because if you go back and listen to other podcasts, me and Kelley have talked about this stuff where I've always been very big, and we've talked to guys about their attitude and their mentality on just the way they look at life and, their job or whatnot. Is I used to always, I guess from coming from so low and being bottom, I appreciate everything that happens to me. I don't dwell on bad things. I want to move on and keep going. I still have a procrastination problem, but just, I feel like I'm so busy that I don't get anything done. But I'm very happy. Like when I come home, no matter how bad my day was, I'm thankful. I kiss my beautiful wife. I kiss my children. I'm grateful. I'm thankful for them. I just try to stay grateful for the things that I have in my life, and just concentrate on those positives, not the negatives, to keep giving me that fuel to keep wanting to go on to my next endeavor, and not always dwelling on, I don't know, like friends will call me like, man, I can't pay this bill today. And, I'm like, well, you don't have the money? No. Well, then it's not going to get paid, man. You sitting here sweating, worrying to death, ready to have a heart attack. It's not going to make that fucking bill get paid, man. So when you get the money, pay for it and then deal with it then. That might have been a bad analogy, but you know what I mean? When people worry about things that they have no control over, to the point that it just makes them go crazy, and they get hung up on the small things, and it just it kind of ruins your motivation in the direction you're trying to go in.
And that's something we can
Yeah,
experience just when we're in a down season with the business. I know I've experienced that many times. Even though I know that the season.
I had to talk Kelley off the ledge
Yeah,
last
no
winter.
shit. Like seriously. But I knew it was going to come back around, and it did, but I have to admit that I did better this year than I have previous years. So maybe my level, my awareness level has been raised or something. I don't know, but definitely didn't get nearly as stressed as I used to.
Yeah. Your awareness level anchored in your self-worth, right? That thermometer that we talked about, right? But really coming from a place of like you've learned and taught yourself that the seasons come up and down, and you're able to stay in a high vibration when the season's down. And that's the key, what was said a little while ago about in those moments finding the little things to be grateful for. Right? Finding those things to be grateful for. And I heard you talk about procrastination as well. And this is a common thing that I work with people as well, right? Procrastination. And the interesting thing with procrastination is there's areas in your life where you don't procrastinate. And there's areas where you do. Because you don't procrastinate in every area.
No, I don't procrastinate in making children.
I was gonna say jerking off. he's not missing a session of that.
I had to slow down, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah. That's cool, man. Yeah, but there's areas where you don't, right? And like jerking off, right? Making children. And so if you could apply that strategy, because it's a strategy, right? There's a mindset that you use to when you are motivated to do something. And if you can apply that strategy to the areas that you are, quote unquote, procrastinating, then you won't procrastinate. And usually procrastination got to do with something. Sometimes there's a deeper issue. There's procrastination is a very mild form of self-sabotage. It's not cutting your wrist level, right? But there is, because it's usually around the thing that you need to do that you don't do, right? And sometimes we procrastinate and do something else that's not necessarily bad. It could be going for a game of golf, but but in that moment, if you would have worked on this one thing, it would have really like up leveled your business or your career or your finances.
Yeah,
and so we have to learn to be like your awareness muscle is key, right? What you mentioned,
awareness, for sure.
Yeah.
I could tell you here recently, because I've been reading a lot about, I read Vishen Lakhiani's book, and he's the guy who runs the Mind Valley. If you're familiar with that. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I know him.
Yeah, he's very
awesome.
cool. But in his book, he talked about he was in some retreat or something, and they really just focused on being grateful. And grateful was like one of the main things. It was like the top thing that could really shift somebody, completely change their brain waves and make new neurological connections and really change them like permanently by being grateful. And so it's funny that you said that, because not funny. I mean, it's just, I've heard it before, read it before. And a couple of weeks ago, I have not done it in the last couple of weeks, but a couple of weeks ago, I was really focusing on just being grateful. Just like Gil said, like he's like grateful when he walks in the door every day. And it makes you literally feel different.
Yeah.
Like you just feel different. I can't describe it. Definitely. So definitely something I need to practice more of.
I noticed when my mindset changed, like getting up in the morning. Like I used to be one of the worst people waking up. No matter how much sleep I got, how little sleep. I mean, I tried doing 6, 7, 8, 9 hours, it didn't matter. I woke up lethargic. I woke up tired. And when my mindset changed, it's amazing how you wake up and you're excited about the day. You're refreshed, and you're not waking up all groggy and stuff like that. It changed so many things, just in a positive level. And then when that changes, business and work got better. My personal relationships got better. I made more relationships. It's just, it was kind of like trying to think of, not a downward spiral, an upward spiral. It just kind of unraveled and positivity went everywhere. And it was just amazing. And I'm not perfect. There's still moments where I might have a little dip, but now that I have the mindset where I know what I have to do to get myself back on track. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, we all bump off or we get knocked off the ledge for a little bit. It's just knowing how to get back up and not keep going down that road that's going to take you to fucking no man's land.
Yep.
Yes. And that's the key. And if you think about that, there's a set of, so that we have, five modalities, right? Which is the visual, the auditory, kinesthetic, the olfactory, and the gustatory, right? So you have what you see, you have the conversations you hear, the feelings, you have what you taste and what you smell. And when you look at the main three, it's the visual, and you have visual external, right? What you see outside of yourself. And then you have the pictures in your head. And then you have the auditory, right? What you hear outside of yourself, and you have the auditory digital, which is the conversation in your head, which we all have. And then you have the feelings, right? You can feel internal, or someone touches you on the shoulder and you can feel that. And so what you just described, you described two different sets of different modalities. The first set was those modalities were anchored in your mind in certain areas and certain locations. The first one was when you woke up sluggish and tired. That was that first one. But you created, right? This is what we talked about your mindset. You created a different internal representation of those modalities. And now you simply choose that more often, and you have, and now that's become a strategy that's become imprinted in your unconscious mind that you now choose automatically. But it didn't happen overnight. I'm sure there was some mornings where it took some work, but you had to make a conscious decision to begin to change that. And that unconscious mind learns through either the hypnosis theta state, alpha, or it learns through repetition, doing something over and over and over and over and over and over again. Then it becomes automatic. That's why you're able to drive your car and talk on the phone or have a conversation or do something else while you're driving your car, because your unconscious mind, you've taught it to drive the car.
Don't they say you have to do 10,000 repetitions or something for it to become or I heard that playing a sport.
Yeah. Well, there's a school of thought that says if you practice something for 10,000 hours,
right,
you become a master at it. That's like mastery. That's like you're badass, right? You're like the Jedi. You're like Yoda or something, right? Or roughly 10 years. But a habit can be installed prior to 10,000 hours, right? Habit can be installed in 21 days, you say.
Mm-hmm.
A new habit, a new strategy.
Yes, yeah. Lord knows I didn't take 10,000 hours.
Right? But you look at your profession, right? Like how many years, Kelley, how many years have you been in HVAC? Yeah. 23 years. And that's why and Gil, how long have you been in HVAC?
Probably close to 20.
Yeah. So you see, you guys are on that Mozart level of HVAC.
He's right? Mozart. He's Mozart. I'm Yoda. I'm the Jedi.
I started young. Kelley's just old as fuck.
Shit. I started at 19. I was young too, brother.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. But 20, 25 years, right? A master in your craft. In the industry for that long, you can do it's unconscious now. But then you got to push yourself to the next level. What is your next level? And I heard Kelley saying, like, I want to get more into personal to the psychology and helping men really shift from the inside out. You're being called towards that, right? Kind of thing, which is cool. That's a fun field.
Yeah,
that's the gift that keeps.
Yeah, I think me and Kelley. That's what was drawing me and Kelley is obviously our love for the trade, but how I actually met Kelley is another podcast that I did. That's a whole other story. We won't get into that. There's not enough time left. But me and Kelley just kind of hit it off, and we kept in touch. And when I decided to podcast again, and me and Kelley had talked, it was just kind of like, man, this is it. And we both like to give back. Like, we've been in the trade for a long time, and we don't know everything and all that kind of stuff, but we've been through enough that we feel like we can help other people not make the same mistakes that we have, and just help people grow. And at the same time, we're growing, because the more that we're talking about something, and if you can explain it to somebody else, it makes my ability and my knowledge better. Like, when I've heard guys say, when they're teaching something, you have to really know something to be able to teach it,
Yeah.
because it's one thing to know it, but to be able to explain it to somebody
Oh,
else
yeah.
is a whole different thing. So it's just it's awesome to give back, no
Yeah.
matter what it is.
Yeah, I agree. When I started to coach other coaches and do these seminars that I do, my personal coaching game with my one-on-one clients went through the roof. I just got so much better at it because now I had to teach other people and I got to see, right, all the
Right.
different
Right.
blind spots that I had, right? So yeah, definitely. And it feels good to give back. It feels good to help other people. It really does.
Yeah, I learned they at the little
It helps.
coaching seminar thing that I went to, he said you want to make sure to collect breakthroughs, because people, that's our whole goal, is to help people have breakthrough. And so as as your career advances, you always want to try to collect those so you can help the next person who might need the same thing.
Yeah. 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 And that's it, man. I mean, if you could live life in a way where, you are affecting people, helping people, like leave going like, man, as a result of knowing Kelley and Gil, like, did I walk away feeling better about who I am? Like, that's freaking cool. You know what I mean? Like, like just knowing you, or just even having a conversation with you, even this podcast and the people that are listening to this, like, we're
Yes.
doing this to help other people, and you're helping bring value to other people's lives. And that's empowering, man. That's really, that's
Yeah,
legacy work right there.
and that's
You
when we
know?
get emails. I mean, obviously having sponsors and us making money off of this is great, but we never started doing this for the money. I mean, yeah, it's cool because we have to put a lot of time into this. So to be able to take us away from our families, to be able to have some financial support, yeah, that's great. But when me and Kelley go through our email or our private messages, and we have emails from guys saying, thank you guys so much for, the podcast you did last week when you were talking about yada yada, and it really hit me, and made me think about this, or the things you guys said I did, and now I brought my average invoice up. And
Yeah.
that's what makes us do this. When we get those emails, and they've just gotten more and
Yeah.
more and more and more, it's awesome. Like, I can't even explain how that makes me feel.
Yeah. And I know
Yeah.
we're running close to the end here, so I just kind of want to touch a little bit about what you said about money, because I know that's a big
Take your
topic
time,
as
man. We
well.
don't have to rush.
And you said something really key. You said about, we don't do this for the money, right? We do this to be of service to people, right? And it's important to value who you are and your self-worth. It's important to get compensated for bringing value to other
Mhm.
people's lives, right? And so in sales, right, the Latin root word to sales is service. It's being of service to other people. And for many years after my experience, right, of the what I call the ashram, the holy place, I call prison the holy place, 'cause that's where I should transform my life. And I got out, I struggled with making money doing this work. I really did. I spent years and years, just really struggling, feeling worthy to get paid in the coaching and in this personal growth field. I mean, I was great at talking about it. I would talk about it and I would do this, that with other people. And I would go to classes and I would talk about it all day long. But when it came down to me getting paid, there was something inside that I didn't quite heal yet. And it was around shame and guilt. And shame and guilt is that energy, that vibration that prevents money flow. It prevents abundance, whether it's money flow or whether it's inner happiness. Because when we have shame, we don't. It's like clean. It's like kinking the hose. The water doesn't flow through, right? And so I had to work on the shame. I felt good about who I was, but when it came for me getting paid for this, there was a part of me that didn't feel that I
Yeah.
deserved it. And so once I got through that, I was able to let go of that shame. Now I'm able to do this work and feel damn good about getting paid for what I do. And there's nothing wrong with that, brother. Even if you're enriching other people's lives, why does it have to be where you don't get your income, right? I mean, it's like We live in an economy based upon currency, and if you don't have the currency, you don't get to have the home. You don't get to have the things that you need to do. Your family doesn't get to go to. Your kids don't get to go to school and have things that they need, or buy your foods, or do whatever, or go have the beer out with the guys, right? Whatever you want to do, we need to have currency. But the key is to know that what you charge, like what I charge, and all you guys out there charging, have any shame around charging, you're charging your price based upon value that you bring to people, but it's based upon an economy. It has nothing to do with your self-worth.
Yeah.
Right on.
Now, let me explain to you what I mean by that. Like, who you are, Kelley, who you are, Gil, and listeners, who you are is infinitely more valuable than any fucking amount of currency on the planet. There's no machine on this planet that can replicate the human fucking body. Just to start right there. Now you want to bring in soul and all that shit in there? Fuck, put a price tag on that shit. You know what I mean? It's like, good luck, right? But we charge and we attach ourselves to the fucking price sometimes.
Yeah.
It's got nothing to do with who we are.
Appreciate
So that's
that,
kind of one
for
to
sure.
touch
So
on
what?
that for a
So
little
the
bit.
shame and guilt that you felt before you started actually knowing your worth and getting more money for your services, like what? I mean, I don't want to. Is there any way you could describe a little bit of how you went about that? Like, what would be the first step that somebody could go do to try to get past this?
Well, basically, yeah. Well, one of the things is there's so the belief that I had to get rid of was, who the fuck am I to do this work and get paid for it, right? Like, because I did this other stuff in the past. I was hanging on to my past because when I made money, right? When I had over $1 million in the drug business, when I had that money, I felt shame and guilt over the lifestyle that I lived. All of a sudden, right? It's like once you become aware of your past, like first step is like now you feel bad about your past.
I see.
So that was a part that I need to heal. I need to make peace with my past.
Right.
And it didn't happen overnight, guys, right? It was a process, and I had to use certain tools. I had to learn really how to shift the unconscious mind. So I've done, I've listened to a lot of, I'm constantly putting, positive information. I don't watch the news. I focus on being grateful. I mean, you do the work, you actually embody the work. You can't fake this shit. You can't just say it, right? Fake it till you make it don't work here. You got to embody it. You got to get on and actually make some positive changes. You got to actually do good to people. You got to start to create good karma in your life. And you got to be, in the Bible, it says, there's a quote in there. It says, pray for the things, pray for things as if you already have them, or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And that's around gratitude. And so I live a life today that I'm manifesting my goals really fucking fast, but they're coming into fruition because I'm living them, even if I don't have some of them. I'm grateful for what I don't have, but I feel as if I already have them. So what I don't have comes into my field way faster.
Yeah.
Right. So I can't be feeling fucking shame and guilt, because that's a different vibration. You see, guilt is victim. Guilt is a victim consciousness. It's basically like, I feel, and what do victims get? Like when somebody is a victim has been hurt.
Yeah.
That's why they're a victim, right? And in a court of law, when somebody's found guilty, what do they get? They get fucking punished, right? So the guilt consciousness and victim consciousness is tied into shame. Shame is like you just don't feel worthy of it, right? Guilt is like I did something bad and I deserve to get punished, right? And so we punish ourselves within our own minds. And if you can just learn to change the conversation in your mind, right? Because we all have one. If I would say to all of you right now, just don't say a word, but just inwardly say the word Coca-Cola. No.
I was trying to be quiet.
Yeah, I can hear you though, right? But you see, right? But that right there, what you heard, master that thing. That's your ego. That's your consciousness, right? And your ego is not a bad thing. It's kind of got a bad rap in some schools of thought. Ego is not a bad thing. You just got to create a healthy ego versus an unhealthy ego.
For sure.
Right? Tame that bad boy, right? And just know that, or bad girl, right? Tame it to be a good boy and girl. And the thing is that we have this mind. We all have a mind. You have a mind, I have a mind. Everybody watching, listen to this thing has a mind. If you can learn to be aware, to know that you are not your mind, and the 50 to 70,000 thoughts that you have every single day is not who you are. It's a mind that is doing its job. It is generating thought and doing a lot more than that. And you get to sit and be aware and pick and choose which thoughts. And those thoughts are based upon all the stuff that we've watched and paid attention to in our upbringing. Right. So if you think about this, like how many times have we've heard, no, you can't, no, you're not good enough, no, you don't deserve this, right? And think about all the movies we watch where it's based upon violence and the hero kills everybody and is a hero that's based on killing, right? And then you look at the news, which is not to inform you, it's to scare the fuck out of you. It's
Fake
basically
news.
what it's designed to do. And you have all this stuff that you're right, and then you attach yourself to the mind, think that that's who you are. Of course, you're going to be depressed, sad, and fucking fearful of life. You have catastrophe thinking. So learn to master your mind, right? The mind is a powerful servant and a horrible master, is what they say.
It's always
Master that
mind
thing,
over
your
matter.
life will change.
I've always believed that. And when you talk about the shame thing, and I won't go into it too much, but when I talked about the whole drugs things, shame and guilt was one of the hardest things, because once I got clean, then all the shame and guilt comes on of all the fucked up shit that you did, the people you stole from, the family members. And it took time. Like I would see people years later and I'd be doing good and they still see that drug addict I used to be. And it took a long time for me to be able to be like, you know what, you're either with me or you're not. You know what I mean? Like I'm not, if I don't care about what you think about me, I'm just going to try to rebuild myself. And I've said this before, and Kelley knows, like, then I started getting the mentality that, you know what, I wasted almost, this amount of time in my life. I don't have any time to waste. And I lit a fire under my ass. And that's when bam, bam, bam. I'm like, oh, I want this. Well, I already wasted time. So I need to do this, and this amount of time to be able to get it. And it made me a very driven person that, I was going to reach my goals, and I started off with little ones. Like I want so much money in the bank after paying my bills. And then I want to be able to do this. I want this house or that car. And it became another addiction. I had to feed that addiction. And now I fed it with something else. As far as trying to get the things that I want in life. So, I couldn't agree more, man. That's your mindset is, it's huge on how you get through life. And guys, real fast, I know a lot of this podcast has not been necessarily HVAC related, but this podcast was about, we always say, and I always say at the end of every podcast, that we want you guys to be the best version of you. That's what this is about. This right here, what Michael and me and Kelley are talking about, is about being the best version of you, being able to have the right mindset that if you want to start a business, if that's what you truly want to do, then fucking do it. If you want to be the manager at a company, then fucking do it. Okay. Like there's nobody holding you back but you. And that's what we're trying to get through to this. And, sorry, I was getting off on there.
Dude,
sometimes I get off, man. I gotta drop the mic. I get passionate with it, but yeah, we are getting a little bit over an hour. But Michael, I want to say, man, thank you so much for coming on. And to be honest, I would really love for you to come back on again.
Brother.
At some point and keep in touch, because
let's do it.
I think this is good to do every so often. Maybe just to get people's mind clear, kind of push HVAC aside for a second and just get our mind right. But I guess I know that you're teaching other people, but if the listeners wanted to be able to reach out to you or talk to you, I mean, is that possible? How could that happen?
Absolutely. I mean, my email is Michael Torres, TORRES, JAIMES @gmail.com. And that same name, Michael Torres Jaimes, you can find me on Instagram. You can find me on Facebook. You can message me there. It's also, my website is also michaeltorresjaimes.com. So either one of those.
Right on. That's awesome.
Yeah, man. It was an honor. It was an honor being on here with you guys. This was a great chemistry, great conversation. And yeah, you're right. In any field, in any area of life, these conversations need to be had every now and then. So,
I agree. So hold on, we got
once a week. Like I need this shit once a week.
Yeah, I know.
Who are you kidding? It's there's a battle happening internally with, all the time, but
always. But there's an African proverb that says, "When there's no enemy within,
that's great.
No enemy without can do us harm."
Yeah, goddamn, that's true. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You get right inside and you're good on
No,
the outside.
that's good.
Master the inner
Yep.
game. Master the inner game, brothers.
Oh, that's the sound that starts us off and ends us. So we will start off. I mean, I'll let Kelley start to close it out. But thank you, Michael, for coming on here, man. I cannot thank you enough for coming on. Like I said, you're welcome on here anytime. And I definitely want to stay in touch. While we were talking, I sent you a friend request on Facebook. So I was being that like crazy groupie bitch, before the conversation's even over, private messaging like, hey, this is Gil. How are you? But yeah, this is awesome, man. Thank you so much for coming on. But you,
I just want to thank Michael also for coming on. Greatly appreciate all his wisdom and knowledge, and he earned it, and I'm so happy for you, brother. I'm just so happy that you're living on purpose, and yeah, I want to be in your circle, man. So, but I loved what you said about everything. I'm going to check out that Memory Hackers on Netflix or YouTube. I'll find that. The mild form of self-sabotage, making peace with the past. You're not your mind, and you choose which thoughts to pay attention to.
Yeah.
I'll love that. Love this shit, man, because it's so true, and it will change your life. I know. And it's something I'm constantly working on, constantly. And I hope we've sparked somebody else to take some interest in this, because all I know is that when I started focusing on self-improvement, self-development, self-help, awareness, like my business, my whole life started to get better. And I think that's true. That's what we've all sit here and said, like when we started learning that, like things started to change for us. So if we could just help one person, like listen to this and seek out some more information, and it can help you change your life, then, I'm going to call that mission accomplished. So thank you so much for coming on. We greatly appreciate it. And yeah, I'd love to have you on again. So, yes.
Yeah, man, honored. And if anybody listening, the next time, like, email your questions, and maybe we can do like answer those questions on the next round.
Perfect.
For sure, definitely.
And you'll have to get into the HVAC Uncensored Facebook page group too. So we'll make sure.
that happens. Send me an invite.
Yes, sir. We'll do.
Cool, brother.
Okay, guys. So you stay on, Michael, because just so we can capture the audio and everything. But anyhow, thank you so much for listening, everybody. Please download, share, tell your friends, family, your coworkers about this. Join the movement with us. Facebook groups is still exploding. So thank you guys for all your support and love. We love you guys, with the bottom of our hearts, honestly. So just thank you so much. And whatever you do, go make money.
Yeah, guys. So ending another episode, guys, this was great, man. Michael is a fucking rock star, guys, and you guys need to check him out as a life coach. He's a life teacher. Just if you need a little motivation in your life, if you feel like you're not quite getting after your dreams, or you're kind of in a rut, give the guy a call, man. I mean, you just heard, you can talk to him for an hour, 5 minutes, and it'll totally change your mindset. So guys, please go check him out on all of his social media platforms, his emails. I wrote all that stuff down, so I'll try to put it in the description of the podcast so you guys have it to be able to check him out. If you can't find it, email us and we'll get you over to whatever link you need to be at. But yeah, guys, as you know, man, we're on all the major podcast apps. You know where to find us. We appreciate you guys more than you'll ever know. We appreciate the feedback that you guys send us. Like we said in the podcast, that's why we do this. We're going to keep growing. The group's going to keep growing. Some people like it, some people don't, but guess what? I don't give a fuck. We're going to keep doing what we're doing. We're going to keep helping people. We're going to keep growing, and we're going to take this thing to the top like we have been. We're just going to keep fucking climbing that ladder, and nobody's going to fucking bring us down. So, guys, we love you. We appreciate you. This is a great show. Like Kelley said, guys, make sure you're downloading the podcast. You're sharing it with people. Almost 20,000 people in the Facebook group, and we still got a quarter of the guys that aren't downloading it. Our downloads have been hitting monumental marks for us, which is just fucking amazing. Last week's episode was just off the charts. We want to keep getting better and better and better. And there's going to be well, I guess you guys, by the time you hear this, I'm going to do a hangout this Saturday, but by the time you guys hear this, it's going to be Monday. So never mind. But, yeah, that's it. Let me stop rambling, man. Great episode, guys. Remember, always make it home the same way you left, guys. Be safe. All right. Be out there drinking water. It's hot. Make sure you're taking care of yourself. And guys, set yourself apart. Do the little things that the other guys are not doing. Okay. And like what we just talked about, get your fucking mind right. We want you guys to be the best version of you. Okay. You want to make more money. You want that position you've been chasing. You want to start your own business. Well, guess what? Fucking do it. And if we can help you in any way, email us and we'll help you. If we can't do it, we can't physically help you, we'll get you in touch with somebody that we think who can. When we say that we want you to be the best version of you, we're not just fucking speaking bullshit. We're serious, guys. We want you to be the most successful you, or whatever dreams that you want. We want to be able to help you accomplish that. So if we over here at HVAC Uncensored can help you, then you let us know. All right? I'll stop rambling. I love you motherfuckers. Until next week. Peace.
Thanks for listening to the HVAC Uncensored podcast. Don't forget to check us out on Facebook and Instagram, or email us anytime at hvacuncensored@gmail.com. Now, get back to work. Shut this down. The views and opinions shared on the HVAC Uncensored podcast may not necessarily be the views and opinions of our sponsors or guests.